Okay.
Good evening all.
Yeah, hi. Good evening, everyone. So, as we are doing something different now, so we talk everyone, we use voice in our day-to-day life. But now let's bring this voice to make payment to someone. So that's where we are working on this as an ecosystem with various banks, partners, and creating this where we want to bring the other half of Indian where they are yet to come on digital payments. So let's divide this discussion into two parts. So first, we will like to give you some basic background that what is voice payment, how it is working, and then we'll do a live demo over here and see how it does transaction in real time on voice. Okay. So just few basic points that what's the status of India right now and payments on that point. So we say that it's a digital payments and UPI payments are growing month on month. But then there is another part over here where we still see that there are various regions in India which are yet to get full connectivity on the internet side. There are still villages which do not have any internet connectivity, and also very few are there. So this is one of the reasons for enabling this voice payments for everyone. Next. On the other part, we see that with the growth of UPI, it is more on the smartphone. So all the smartphone users can download the apps from the Play Store, App Store. They have the UI UX which is easy on the smartphone. But what about the users who are still using the feature phones? So on the feature phone, there are very few options available for payments, and whatever are there, it's still not very user experience friendly. You need to do a lot of things like USSD steps, which is not that much easier for making payments for anyone who is using a feature phone. And then with this, there were various events which led to making 123 Pay Live. One was the RBI regulatory sandbox, which supported in bringing out all the solutions for 123 Pay, which is voice payments. And then there was the grant challenge which was conducted by NPCI, CIA, and Bill Gates Foundation. So there also the main objective was to find a solution which is very easy, user-friendly for the customers who do not have smartphone or who are having smartphone but they do not find it easy to navigate in the UPI apps. So these two events led, and then we had a development at the NPCI which we created a server-side common library to enable specially this. So just to give a context, what is library is that in today's time, if you use any of the UPI app, after making the complete payment journey, at the end you put a UPI pin. That UPI pin is a page which is common library. So over here, similar needs to be developed for voice payment. So I would just ask Dinakaran to explain how this works over here.
Yes. So basically, this solution was conceived to serve the underserved and unserved segment, right? So this feature phone solution was built on top of the existing UPI platform. So if you want to do a real-time payment transaction, right, you need to enter some data, right, which gets authorized, right, and that happens by a secured component called common library. And on smartphone, right, so we can install this common library as part of your app, right, and then get it installed, and then you can initiate the transactions. But on feature phones, right, you don't have that luxury, right? So then we came up with a solution of this server-side hosted common library, where we developed an independent component and we gave it to the PSPs, right, to be hosted on their respective environments. So that when a user actually initiates the transaction, the required credentials are captured, right, in an encrypted manner, and sent across to this component, and the credentials are again re-encrypted as per the existing UPI specification and format, right? And once the flow is something like when the user on the feature phones, the IVR channel gets activated, the user opts for a registration or a transfer, and he'll be asked for entry of the PIN, right? So once the PIN gets entered, it gets transmitted via the service provider to the remitter PSP hosted SSCL. From there, the data gets encrypted and sent back to the PSP, and PSP forwards it to the central switch for data authorization purposes. So that's how it works, right? And as part of phase 2, we are planning to take this solution as a centrally hosted solution, right? There are certain hassles currently there with the current implementation model, wherein this component needs to be deployed independently on each of the PSP servers, and that incurs some overheads in terms of integration hassles and maintenance overheads, right? To sort that out, we have come up with a centralized solution, and we are working on that, and in due course of time it will be released to the market. And I'll hand it over to him.
Can you go to previous slide? Yeah. So if you can also add on the mapper side, how it will help.
Right. So there is another important factor that I would like to touch upon. So entering a UPI ID, right, which is predominantly an hexadecimal value on a feature phone, is pretty difficult for the segment that we are targeting, right? So we have come up with a solution, right, wherein we can map a numeric ID, right, which is in length, maximum length of 9 digits, to a VPA, and further the onboarding and transaction can take place using that numeric ID instead of a VPA.
Correct. So that mapper will help. So today also mapper is there, and it helps enabling making payment, any UPI payment to anyone just using a mobile number or 8 to 9 digit number. So I think most of the ecosystem is live on mapper. You can send anyone by just entering the mobile number, and that can be transferred. So base is that UPI ID, which we are using for transferring to anyone. This layer comes about it and makes the payment easy for anyone. So this helps in making payment on the feature phone, where you do not need to enter a UPI ID, which is alphanumeric, but just a numeric digits. So moving to next. So with this all enablers, the 123 Pay was launched by RBI Governor in March, and we went live on the 4 approaches. So one is basically a voice payment. You just call on predefined payment numbers. These payment numbers are given by the bank, and then over that the solutions are created where user gets onboarded. Then the user needs to link their bank account, set PIN, and then make a payment. So various payment functionalities are available on voice. So this is one of the approaches. Then we had next one, which was missed call pay. So missed call pay is where you give a missed call on a particular number and immediately a callback comes. So right now in today's time, we have a QR code, correct? And if you go to any of the merchant, you scan the QR, it immediately identifies that this QR belongs to this merchant, it brings out the detail. So in a similar way for identifying merchant on the voice, a number is given, a user gives the number, sorry, my bad. A merchant is given a number, and when a user goes to that merchant, a user gives a missed call on the number of the merchant, immediately a user gets a callback. And in that callback, it will say that, would you like to make payment to this particular merchant? Enter the amount followed by the UPI PIN. So this is another approach. Then we have a predefined, pre-installed app in the feature phone. Basically, it's a UPI app, but on the feature phone. So I would just like to show you how it is. Maybe it won't be visible, but just to... So this is a feature phone. Then there is one of the app which is there. So it's in the SDK form where a user needs to register, link account, set PIN, and then make transaction to anyone either by putting a mobile number or UPI ID. So this is another solution where predefined, pre-installed apps would be there in the feature phone. And then one is the sound base. So like identifying merchants with a missed call. Then there is also another way to identify merchant, which is basis the sound. A unique sound with a few frequencies are given to these merchants when onboarded. And when a user goes to this merchant's store, when they are using either voice or a feature phone, they will call on a particular number, tap on this device, and it emits a sound. That sound gets captured on the call. It identifies that this sound belongs to this particular merchant. Then it asks you to enter the amount followed by UPI PIN. So these are the approaches which has been live. They are doing good now. We have now more than 1.3 lakh users doing transactions on this. And various use cases are there. So we'll take you through these use cases. Moving to next slide. So this, as we know that English is the major thing when using the apps on the smartphone. But when it comes to voice, you would like to interact in your own regional language. It becomes easier, right? When you converse with anyone, if there is some familiarity in the language you speak. So bringing that concept to over here, now we have more than 10 languages live on this voice payment. So you can interact in your own regional language. So this language is covered the southern side. It's Bengal, Assamese, Gujarati, Marathi, Hindi, English. So these languages are there, and we are targeting to have these solutions enabled on all 20 plus languages, which are official languages of India. So this is helping us to onboard more users, more on the rural side where they are not much conversing in English or Hindi, but this helps them. Now moving on to the use cases. So we started with very basic use cases of transferring to someone with a mobile number. And then we started adding a few use cases like you can book a LPG payment. Then we brought in the FASTag. So now anyone who is traveling and they don't want to see the phone and drive, so they can just call on this number, enter the car number or a mobile number, and then the FASTag details get fetched, and then the amount you want to load with, you can make that payment. And then you can do electricity payment. So this is a new category which has been made live. More than 70 plus electricity billers of India, which are live on BBPS. Now you can make payment to them. So it can be starting with MSCB, Tata Power, Adani, all these electricity billers are there. Then we have pipe gas bills. So basically we are enabling all the utility bill payments which are a day-to-day transaction for any of the user. And with this, on the voice, it becomes easier that you call, you identify the service or the utility where you want to make payment, and then by validating, that can be done. Now, two more use cases which we are working is that it's already in testing and CUG is that getting this EMI recollection on call. So we have been discussing with various MFIs. And we find one problem or challenge we can say is that collecting this EMI on the regional side, it becomes difficult. So here what will happen, this MFIs will have their own number. So in that number, either the customer can call and make a payment, or as a reminder, SMS which goes as an outstanding that by this due date, you need to pay this outstanding. So instead of that, a call can also go. In that call, the payment can be done. And then one use case which is interesting, we see that cash on delivery is one of the use case. So there are various channels and various lags which comes when an item gets delivered from an e-commerce business. So at that end, when the agent comes to the home to deliver the goods, at that time a SMS comes, the user needs to give a OTP. So if that OTP gets converted to a call, then directly the payment can go to the business, and that lag can be reduced of handling the cash. So this all use cases are there, and then new use cases which we are working on that will be coming out soon. So this is the story till now, and now I think it's a time we'll do some live demo. If someone wants to volunteer for this, or if you want, I will do a live demo and transfer anyone over here.
Anyone? Yeah.
Yeah. Sure. So you can call on these numbers. No worries. This number first. 080-4516-3666. It's phone agnostic. You can switch off the internet and you can call.
Wow.
Yeah. 1 minute. We'll
Or check your account balance in this call in a simple manner. Press 1 to transfer money. Press 2. We have initiated 6-digit OTP to your mobile number. Kindly enter the OTP to proceed. For send money using mobile number, press 1. Please enter the 10-digit mobile number of the person you want.
So if you want to transfer anyone over here, we can see a live validation. No worries. Okay. 77-109-000-81.
Enter the amount you want to transfer. We have initiated 6-digit OTP to your mobile number. Kindly enter the OTP. You are transferring 10 rupees to RH Himit Hitendra.
So it confirmed me as a beneficiary and amount. So now it will ask to enter UPI PIN.
Bank. Account ending with 5684.
Yeah, you need to enter UPI PIN. Money is debited? Yeah, I received. HDFC. Sure.
Thank you, Yogesh, for participating. Thank you.
Sure. Thanks. So over here, what happened is that Yogesh had registered, so it didn't ask. So the flow goes like this. When you call on this, it will ask you for what are the features and functionalities available for these payments. And then it checks whether the user has been registered. If not, it does one-time registration where you need to link your bank account by speaking the name of the bank. And then it asks you to check, set the UPI PIN. If you are very new to UPI ecosystem, if you are already linked somewhere, then no worries. Once you list your account, and then you can use the services over here. So right now, the model which is live is that it's a hybrid. You call, you do some conversation, what you want to do, like electricity bill, you pay, speak the name of the board, like Maharashtra State Electricity, and then it calls you back. And then you enter the amount followed by entering the PIN. So it's hybrid that you speak the voice and also input on the keypad. But we are going to a model where it would be complete conversational, and at the end only you need to enter the PIN using the keypad. That is because you cannot speak your PIN in public, correct? So that's why that's the thing which we are going through right now. So yeah, this is still now. Any questions? Any queries?
Yes,
Yeah.
please.
You said you have to speak. So when we have to speak, India has mainly 15 languages and there are multiple dialects. Right?
Correct.
So do you face the dialect challenges here?
Yeah, so with the starting, definitely, because the way they speak in their language dialects, it may be similar to the main track, but still they are not able to identify. But now we are working with partners which they are putting this models where they train themselves on these models and it improves itself. So it gets on improving on this machine learning type. Yeah.
So UPI Lite was launched recently, right?
Correct.
When are you planning to integrate that? Because I think the ticket size is going to be low for a feature phone kind of user, right? So any plans on that integration now?
So it's interesting. So what I would say is this voice is not only feature phone, correct? It's a voice. And we have limit which is equivalent to your UPI. And for right now, it's 5,000 per transaction, but per day you can go to your UPI limit. So Lite is just now launched. So let it grow, let it mature on the smartphone. And let's see, and then bring it to over here, because it's the device and voice. It requires some type of maturing on the smartphone.
Thanks.
Yeah, can you give your
Usually on other UPI apps, we tend to pay some frequently used billers or frequently used
Correct.
phone numbers,
Favorites.
favorites. So
Yeah.
how do we enable that on?
So right now it's not there. We are working on it to bring favorites and also your auto pay. So once you make any payment to utility, then the trackering will also happen on this voice itself.
Also for this category, the category which you are talking about, I think more than favorite, if we'll enable this recurring payments for the monthly, the monthly, those merchants, I think that will help. Because in feature phones, setting up those favorites will be little difficult. Also from the definitely. So I think 2-3 things.
Yes.
One more question I have, Himit. So while you were saying this, can we also scan from the feature phone?
So I had kept that for the last trick.
Okay.
So no worries. So I wanted to present this. It's a special thing for the people who are present over here. So new thing which our partners are working is that till now the feature you can scan your QR from your smartphone, but now there is a thing where we are working on this, where you can scan a QR from a smartphone. So if any one of you have a QR, UPI QR, you can bring it over here. Let's see if it scans or not. Any of your UPI QR?
So, but not all feature phones has the camera.
Yeah, so feature phones with a basic camera. So even basic.
Phones is the basic camera.
Yeah.
That's-
But till now, even that was not happening.
Okay.
Anyone with a QR? Or I open my QR? Yeah. Can you bring Rahul? So this is Rahul's UPI QR. This is a basic smart feature phone with a camera. I will scan this. So it took time, but it got the UPI ID which is associated with this QR. So it says Rahul Solanki 06@OKFC Bank. So this is a WIP, but it's a special thing for the people present over here. It's not yet gone out to the world.
Woo!
Yeah.
Mike, please.
Fine.
How have you addressed fraud, the use case for fraud in this case? Because these smartphones are equipped with a lot of security measures, whereas feature phones are typically not, and the user segment on the feature phone side is also not that savvy.
Correct.
So how do you address fraud? Because this seems, if I get control of the phone, it may be possible. But so I'm sure you addressed it, which is
Yeah,
to
sure.
understand.
So-
And also the call back, it didn't open this Pandora's box when the merchant callbacks can be duped, like somebody, fakes it or whatever. I don't know.
Got it. I got your point. So two things. So over here, definitely it's a new thing, and it's on the voice, and even low-end devices are working. But this works on the railroads of UPI. So all the basic rules and checks are in place, which are of ERFRM, and on that we have put additional checks of limiting the transaction limit to right now per transaction. Per day it goes, but per limit is limiting, and we are working that. We are observing things whether any such irregular transactions are happening or not. So that's one thing, and on the other part I missed. Other was no. Merchant side on the missed call pay. So on the missed call side, it's you give missed call for each different merchant, but callback will be from a central number. So it will be only one number, and that would awareness around that would be created, that you will receive callback only from this number, then only you enter. And we are trying to get a number which would be a payments number. We are working on it. Let's see. It's very early, but that if we can create a number series which is only for payment, that will help us out. So right now it would be a central number only. It not be multiple numbers from where a callback would be coming.
Just to add to Himit's point, right? You said if the device gets stolen, okay, there is the second factor of authorization we have, which is the user PIN. So without the PIN, no, the transaction couldn't be getting authorized.
No, I'm just saying from the segment who uses feature phones, like my mother, she gets a call, she's more likely to disclose these things over a feature phone than a smartphone, because smartphone, it's generally difficult for senior citizens, etc., with these security features like thumb impressions and stuff.
Correct.
So maybe it's
Yeah.
something to ponder on. I'm sure you built in your safeguards, but like.
So all the rules of UPI which are there on smartphone
applicable, I
are
understand
applicable.
that.
All are two-factor authentication transactions.
Yeah, got it. Thanks.
All right, any more questions? I really liked this last session, was really interactive one. And everybody was participating. Thank you for that. Yeah, so I don't think there's any more question coming up. Thank you, Himit. Thank you, Mr.